morning, Facebook Live. This day in history is the subject this morning, and it was this day, February the 12th, 1990, that Nelson Mandela was released from prison after 27 years. Yes, he had served 27 years in prison in apartheid South Africa, fighting for the rights of the people and fighting for justice. He was jailed, and he wrote many letters from jail, and his work resonates around the world about peace. I named him Peace Hero of the World. I had the opportunity to be a professor of history in Jamaica before I came here. And one of the areas that I taught was African history, in particular West Africa. Yes, and we did. Nelson was from South Africa, but we still did almost the continent, learning about that history. And I remember very emotional moments in the classroom when we read Nelson Mandela's life story. And the students, yes, were perturbed. I was too. But as the guide and the instructor, I had to hold my emotions. But on the 12th of February, 1990, it was a Saturday morning. And when the news came across that Nelson had been released, there were tears of joy. Yes, I cried at the moment. I was very, very emotional, having studied his life. And this great man, we could learn a lot of lessons from him. He later became Prime Minister of South Africa. He had the power to punish, to retaliate against those who had imprisoned him. He didn't do that. He didn't go that road. Here's a banner that he used. He had established a reconciliation commission, and the banner was "No revenge, but reconciliation." Yes, had the power in his hands that he could, punish those who had jailed him. Didn't do that. He established a peace commission. So the title, Peace Hero of the World, is very appropriate. In 2013, the Blue Ball Barn Museum, Folk Art Museum in Alapunkas, gave me a 20-year retrospective to show my work. And in putting the work together to give to them, I realized that I had no Nelson Mandela art. And I created this painting. The original painting is right there on the wall among my Black History Month pieces. And I wanted to represent the younger Nelson Mandela. So that is why that version of him looks young. Well, this man, I repeat, we could learn, or politicians who are revengeful could learn a great lesson from him. Not to abuse power, to have a forgiving heart, to get people to reconcile, to bring people together, to be peaceful. Yes, and we are at that moment. And thankfully, yes, we have had a change. Yeah, we are trying to restore the soul of our country. And we are trying to get people to come together in peace and unity. And I want to mention something about the word unity, because it is so misconceived in this era. Oh, It's as if forget everything and unite. It doesn't work that way. Over on that wall is a piece titled KNOW, no justice, no peace. And before we can get people to unite, we must establish justice. We must first get them to know justice and to know peace. And then we can move on to the unity. So unity, just off the cuff. They're coming off the cuff, talking about unity. Doesn't work that way. Unity requires justice, and justice must be administered. Justice has to prevail. And once we have justice prevail, we can move towards unity. That's a component. Justice is a component of unity. So we cannot ignore justice. So back to the theme of reconciliation and Nelson Mandela, who I salute as the peace hero of the world. And he passed the same year I created this painting, 2013. That's when Nelson Mandela passed away. And I am just in awe that I did create a painting to represent this world leader who established peace. Now, peace begins in the home. Nelson Mandela has some very great quotations. I would encourage my audience to go Google that. Quotations by Nelson Mandela. There are many of them, powerful quotations. And the one that I identify with and the one that I use very much is the one related to peace and love. And these were, I am paraphrasing what he said. Hate is learned. And if hate is learned, then peace can be taught. Very much so. And where peace begins is in the home and with our children. Are we raising our children to be peaceful? Those who create disturbances in our society, they were children too. No child was born a rioter. No child was born a bigot. No child was born a criminal. No child was born a terrorist. So where did they learn these behaviors? And how did we allow them to grow up and be these destructive types of behavior, to exhibit those destructive types of behavior? I use the analogy of a tree, okay? And it's my analogy, I titled The Tree of Peace. Begins with planting the seed, watering, nurturing the seedling. That seedling is going to grow up. It's going to gain structure. It will have trunk. The branches will spread. There will be leaves. There will be flowers. And there will be fruits. Therefore, if we plant the seed of peace in children, nurture all the way through, and it can't be just a haphazard here and there. We have to be continuously at it to nurture that seed. If we do that, we will have, now the tree which is watered with peace and nurtured about peace, etc., will show, we can reap fruits of peace. And vice versa, where the structure is lacking, and the upbringing, and the nurture, and the water, then we will have a tree which will grow, spread the branches of destruction, of crime, of violence. The flowers will come out. And finally, we will have fruits. Yes, and we will have fruits of crime and violence. That's an analogy I'm using of a tree which is nurtured to be peaceful. We will get fruits of peace. If we leave it to grow on its own and without the nurturing, etc., we will get a tree that will produce fruits of crime and violence. And that's where we are. That's what we're having. So we better go back to training our young people to be peaceful. And when I teach children, I give them a trivia. And my peace trivia goes this way. A peaceful H plus a peaceful S plus a peaceful C plus a peaceful N equals a peaceful W. Explain, the formula explain, and it all begins with me. And the explanation is a peaceful home, because that's where it begins. Then they leave from the home, they go to school. So a peaceful home plus a peaceful school plus a peaceful city or community plus a peaceful nation will equal a peaceful world. And in my window, whenever you come to the Lafayette Gallery, which is located at 227 North Market Street in Wilmington, Delaware, you will see a banner, a painting, the original painting of this image. It's in my window. It reads, "A peaceful city begins with me." And that's what I teach the children who come to this gallery. When they come, it's more than painting. We talk about diversity. We talk about heritage. We talk about respect for others. And we talk about peace. I normally give them an assignment. I said, choose one of the themes, that is heritage, cultural heritage, diversity, peace, to do your masterpiece from. 99% of the children always choose peace. So we could learn a lot from our children. It is innate in children to be peaceful. Destructive behaviors of hate and crime and violence are learned. And as my hero, my world hero Nelson Mandela, hate is learned. So if they can learn hate, then we should teach them peace. Makes sense? It makes very good sense. So here's my next banner. So we start with the home. We talk about peaceful home, school, community, nation. Let's go to the world, because we need world peace. So just like we say, a peaceful city begins with me, so we say, a peaceful world begins with me and you and everyone out there. What are you doing from your vantage point to promote peace? What are you doing? Are you raising your children to be peaceful? And I am saying children, but us parents, we have an obligation. Even when our children are grown, we still have some influence. So, let's say we have someone, one of our children, who is in law enforcement and is abusing power. As a parent, we hear about it, we still have that moral authority and parental authority to talk to that grown person and get that person to know justice and to know peace. Last May, in the height of the pandemic, we faced a crisis, another crisis that we had to deal with. And that was a crisis of racial justice, or injustice for that matter, with the killing of the late George Floyd. And it was then that I took up the banner and say, I'm not going to say N-O justice. I'm not going to say N-O peace. I am going to say K-N-O-W, no justice. Get them to know justice and know peace. Last summer, I had the great opportunity of working with People to People International, the Delaware chapter, on the youth arts program for this summer. And we worked virtually, and the children were at the Boys and Girls Clubs Center in Claremont, Delaware. And we did that virtual presentation. We carried them through a lot of slides. We got them to understand the meaning of peace and justice. Young people are rational. We underestimate their ability. They understand. And even young children understand what justice is. All we have to say, right and wrong, treating people fairly. Those are the words we have to use. We don't have to get philosophic and talk about justice. We talk about fairness. Treat your siblings fair. Don't share what you have. Don't snitch on someone. I want to say snitch. Or don't make things up. Don't tell untruth. All those kind of upbringing, we have lost the art of raising children. And it is Black History Month. And I'm going to point in the direction of African American parents and implore them to take up the banner of peace, to revisit the village style of raising children, to ensure that we are raising children to grow up to be peaceful citizens, to be honest, to be loving and caring. That's how they were born in the first place. So where did those destructive behavior come from? Ask yourself those questions. What kind of job are we doing to raise our children? And because it's Black History Month, that is why I'm saying I implore African American parents to take a stand with raising our children to grow up to be peaceful. And then, because I believe in diversity, I also expect Caucasian and other races to raise their children, not to be racist or bigots, to be inclusive, to embrace diversity, to show love. And we read in an article this week which pointed to one state where a charter school had been given the option, had given parents the option to get their children to opt out of Black History Month activities. Now that is a crime, an educational crime. I call this an educational crime because what they're doing, they're planting the seed. Planting seed of racism by doing that. That's exactly what they're doing. If you're going to prevent your children from learning about Black history, then you're setting them up to grow up to be bigots and racists, and we have too many of those. We need to nip it in the bud. So parents out there who are from other races, it's Black History Month. Teach your children Black history. Teach them Black history too. Get them to appreciate Black history. And I want to thank one of my Facebook friends, and yes, she's Caucasian. She highly complimented me when I discussed education and the disparities in the black community, the disparities in education for black children. Yes, my friend, she highly complimented, and she empathized with me. That's where we want to go, the empathy. And talking about unity, yes, let's unite. Let's, people of all races, unite against bigotry, unite against racism, unite against riots, unite against crime. That's where the unity should be pointing. That's the direction. Not to let the abusers or those who commit the atrocities, not to let them off the hook under the guise of unity. I don't want that kind of unity. I want the unity which tell them to know justice and to know peace, and to get them to understand about their behaviors and to turn from that type of behavior. Then we can have unity. So how can we raise our children to be peaceful? A picture is worth 1,000 words. We need to surround our children with images that shows peace, like that. Images of peace and diversity. Teach them about this man. Tell them there was a man in South Africa. Show them a map of the world. And he used to, that people in that country were living in different sections, black in one, just break it down, and that he protested against it, went against it, and that they put him in jail, in prison for 27 years, and that he came out of prison, became the prime minister of that country, and had the power now to punish those people who had put him in prison. And instead of doing that, he didn't do that. He called for them to be established. They're going to use the word reconciliation, but break it down again. Nelson Mandela, no revenge. That he didn't want to bring revenge against the people. He wanted them to come together to get to know what is right and wrong. I'm talking about images that we should surround our children with. Okay, so we are talking about images. And I'm a teacher, lifelong educator, and I know the power of art. I know it. And I'm here talking on the subject of Nelson Mandela, and I'm using images. So here's a miniature. I've had grown-ups come in this gallery and see the picture of Nelson Mandela and don't know who that is. Yeah, high school graduate, college bound. They have no idea. And peace. This should be in every child's room. A peaceful city begins with me. And this one about the village takes a village to raise a child. Let's revive the village to raise our children. Yes, so I believe that the way we can approach it at an early age, we get the children to understand differences, teach them about love. Play Bob Marley songs. Play songs about love. And talk about Bob Marley. And look at this image. Red and yellow, black and white and brown. That his message was about one love. One love. Let's get together and feel all right. So on this day in history, when we remember the release of Nelson Mandela from prison after serving 27 years, we want to take up the banner of peace Get to the root of the tree. Plant that seed. Water it. Nurture it. And at all levels of the growth, constantly reinforce the importance of growing up to be peaceful, loving, respectful of different races. Yes, all of that is required if we're going to have a peaceful world. So I want to, on the screen, I did put my information. I am not a motivational speaker. I'm passionate about history, about social justice, and when I come on my videos, yes, I want to impart that type of value. However, the bottom line is I'm the owner of a business. So when I say surround your children with visuals that can teach them about peace, I have them here in the gallery. This little print doesn't cost much. It's pocket change for this. The same, I make it affordable. Pocket change for these images that you can surround, put them in the den or in your children's room so they can learn. A picture is always worth 1,000 words. And you can teach them my trivia. It's copyrighted, by the way. I work hard for my art. My art is copyrighted. My slogans that I make up, well, this is mine. So that's mine. You can't just go use it without my permission. I have to teach that too. So like my formula, I should have put a copyright sign on it. You have to do that too, because in the age of technology, people will just go online and download people's files and use it and abuse it. So children should learn the formula. A peaceful home plus a peaceful school plus a peaceful city or community plus a peaceful nation equals a peaceful world, and it all begins with me. So that's the lesson for today, and I want to thank you for watching. I encourage you to share this information. Share it with others, and share it in your community, your church. The churches, the schools, and the fact that we're in the pandemic era and we're not in person again, we're losing a lot in terms of socialization. Everything is just virtual. The human touch, we want to bring that back, and we want to put that in the virtual process. And yesterday I asked, do we still have parent conferences by virtual? We should. We should find ways to reach out. Even though we're in a virtual world, there are certain values that must be instilled in our children. Thank you for watching. To purchase my art, you can go to www.lafayettegallery.com, and there's another link that makes products from my work, and that is the HTTP link, which is fineartamerica.com. The gallery is located, again, 227 North Market Street in Wilmington, Delaware. The hours are Tuesday through Saturday, 11 a.m. to 4 p.m. I offer classes, a range of classes for children and for adults. In the era of pandemic, I still do classes the very safe way. The children wear masks. I provide gloves for them so they don't share materials, or they don't touch the materials. And it's a safe process. Last year I had a group of 40 children divided into groups of 5. They came in and painted and learned lifelong skills, life skills. So that is available. Call me at 302-656-6786 if you want to schedule a class for children or a paint night for adults or paint day. Thank you.